welcome to our new album. Hello. This is Pear Shaped in Dystopia. Every Wednesday night at 8:30. Yes, it's Pear Shaped, and we hope you'll come to see us and don't be late. Yes, it's Pear Shaped. It's just a favour to come in, and we hope that you'll be coming back again to Pear Shaped in Dystopia. Every Wednesday night at 8:30.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Pear Shaped in Dystopia.
Hello.
Hello. Episode 10. Episode
Number
10.
10.
It's our anniversary.
Oh.
10 weeks. Episode 10. It's quite exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy today because Federer's back. And he won.
Oh.
Yay!
Oh. Oh. It's because he's a winner like Donald Trump. He's a winner.
Don't compare Federer to Donald Trump.
Federer's
That's
a
horrible.
winner. Yeah. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, on that note, well, that's the end of the show. We'll be back again next week for episode 11. Or I know. La 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 la. We could do some jokes.
Yeah, do some
Yeah.
jokes then.
La 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 la
Got any
la. I've got a few. Like two surrealists walked into a fish.
Oh, is that like two sheep walked into a bar?
No, it's like two surrealists walking into a fish. My imaginary girlfriend has got a see-through dress that leaves absolutely everything to the imagination. La 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 la. That's good, isn't it? It doesn't make any sense, but
I don't understand it.
doesn't. And I've got a mate who lives in Denmark, and this is actually true. If you get the flu in Denmark, their medicine is called stop snot.
Oh, that's nice.
That's all right, isn't it? And if if the kids get the flu, they get Stop Snot Junior, right? And if you all manage to survive, you've got Spunk Wine Gums. La 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 la. It must be a lot of fun living in Denmark with stuff like that. La 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 la. Ah. Mind you, I'm all right. I've survived. There's nothing wrong with me that a couple of gigs, a blowjob, and £500,000 wouldn't kill. So I'm all right. So, I think we've lowered the tone enough,
Only
really,
half
haven't
a
we?
million quid. Oh,
Yeah, £500,000. That's all we need, just to get by.
that's nice.
So yeah. I know. Woke up this morning with a bad, bad pain in my head.
He got a pain, he got a bad, bad pain.
Woke up this morning with a bad, bad, fucking bad pain in my head.
He got a pain, he got a fucking bad pain.
So I went down to the doctor.
Yeah.
This is what he said.
What'd he say?
I'm fucking telling you what he said.
Get on with it then.
He said, I got good news and I got bad news.
Bad news.
I said, what? He said, you're getting deafer and deafer and deafer. And he said, I got good news.
Good news, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
got bad news.
Yeah, bad news, yeah.
Which one do you want to hear first?
I don't care.
I said, you better hit me with the good news. While I prepare myself for the worst. He said, okay then. He said, you play that thing? I said, what thing? He said, that thing. I said, this one? Nope. That's a shame because I like guitars. Yeah, you tell 'em, sister. Whoa. He's having the good news is you got 2 whole weeks to live. I said, what? He said, you're getting deafer and deafer and deafer and deafer. The good news is you got 2 whole weeks to live. I said, that's the good news? What's the bad news? He said, I should have fucking told you 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Oh, that'll do, innit?
That was nice.
I reckon it's time for a bit of music now. Robert White.
Donald Trump's gone, the weekend's here, and it's hard to admit. When posting online, I'm gonna miss you a bit. But I realise, when I think of it, I'll remember you every time I take a Bye, Donald.
Oh, that was Robert White saying goodbye to Donald Trump. I don't know why Al appeared there for no apparent reason. Good. So there we are. It's carrying on Pear Shaped. I don't know why. It just seemed to me to be the most pointless exercise since someone thought to do a live action version of the Lego movie. But it carries on. I don't know what to say about that. So, yes, this is entertainment, like the great Harry Potter saga, where we discovered at the end that, although he is a bit weird, he would have been better off in a mainstream school. There's other things to do for fun, like in Iran, they had a National Nuclear Day, which is great. They had a little, it was great. The kids had a little isotope and spoon race, and after that they had a 3-legged race. That was probably funnier before coronavirus. But there we go. It's difficult, this. I never quite know how it's going to get. It's just a strange world, isn't it? I'm feeling like jealous of school children at the moment because, they're sort of going back to school and they've been working at home for ages. And I think that would have worked for me when I was a child, working from home, because I was always in detention. So I could have doubled up being at home and being in detention. I could have merged the two together. It would have been ideal for me. I think I would have thrived then at school if I had been, I did all right at school. Well, I didn't, but there we are. When I was at school, there weren't children. there were children, but they weren't dyslexics, they weren't dyslexics, dyspraxics, and all that. We're all just remedial. The Greek word for you're not going to have a life and a future, so just sit in the corner and play with plasticine. Good. So it's gradually coming out of lockdown now, isn't it? Everything's returning to normal. I think when gyms reopen, a weight will be lifted. That's a joke. Yeah, there are jokes in this. Things are, things aren't what they used to be, though, are they? I remember when you could walk across Doggerbank to Norway, but it's all been downhill since then. These are jokes. There's sillier things than this. There's Don Ward trying to do the Comedy Soul Gong show online, if you can imagine that. But if you do very well, he'll put you on a live stream on a Thursday. At least we're trying. Other people have just given up. We decided. We didn't have a club before. No one came when we did. So not having to have a venue and not having to have any people has been ideal for us. I think we've really broken out. We've broken beyond the boundaries. everything has its time, doesn't it? Like UKIP. I remember UKIP. They had a lovely, they were what they were, weren't they? There was UKIP. I sold them a case of South London beer. It was a case of Pride and Prejudice. So there we are. Yeah. At least I am here this week. I wasn't here last week. No, I wasn't here last week. I did a. Who's that? I did a Piers Morgan. I just decided not to come. I don't agree with everything that Piers Morgan says, but I will defend to the death his right not to be on television. I think he's an absolute right to not be on television, and he should stand up for it. Because the thing is as well, I just watched the bit where he walked out. That studio has got the largest desk in the world. It's like 5 meters long. It's like people have said, who can sit the furthest away from Piers Morgan? He's all right underneath, as Frankie Howard would say. Underneath, yes. But yeah, it's strange the characters who are reappearing in the world now, like with I keep seeing Nicholas Witchell on the television. He's royal correspondent now, isn't he? He used to be the newsreader, and now he's been pushed into this corner of being royal correspondent. And I've been trying to work out for years what happened to that Nicholas Witchell was taken away from the BBC News and put in this corner to stare at royalty who hate him. Prince Charles once described him as that horrible little man. A horrible little man. A horrible little man for the BBC. And all he does is talk flattering things about the royals. He never criticises them. But still, Prince Charles hates him. Horrible little man. Horrible little man. Horrible little man. Nicholas Witchell. We have to be in the same place as Nicholas Witchell. But I realise what it is that Nicholas Witchell did that is wrong, that got him into so much trouble. In the 1980s, during the Section 28 thing, the BBC News studio was sort of hijacked and invaded by gay activists, and Nicholas Witchell sat on a lesbian to subdue her, and I don't think he's ever lived that down. I think that after that he was a bit of a joke. It was he tried to be taken seriously, but it was always Nicholas who sits on the lesbians. So it'd be in meetings and they'd say, well, Nicholas, he's quite a good BBC and he's quite a good anchorman, but really we need him to sit on the lesbians. That's what he's best at. If you want lesbians sitting on, Nicholas Witchell is Ava's come in line now, says boo. So she's not behind the door. But she did leave me with some equipment for this week. So this is what Ava has given me to survive Pear Shaped with. I think we can all agree this is what has been missing from Pear Shaped. Cole Parker's got his highly strong cannabis in Los Angeles where it's legal, and I have my highly strong whiskey in London where it's legal, and I think that's really what's made it. It always bothers me, this support a starving comedian thing. I should point out it's a joke. We're not the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, okay? It will just be turned into whiskey if you give us money. That's fine. You can judge the quality of single malts each week. Anyway, so I think we'll move forward and put an act on because my drinking isn't entertaining enough to carry on. So. Can we have some love and appreciation for the next week, the next act, please? He's not here corporeally, like the audience, but he will be appreciative of your love. The one from Mr. Lawrence Tuck.
Good evening. My name is Lawrence Tuck. Welcome to my home. I confess that I am a bit of a ladies' man. I generally find them cleaner than the gents. I've recently started following Stacey Solomon on Twitter. Twitter, of course, is the name of my stallion. And I despise my next-door neighbour to such a degree that I went so far as to construct a voodoo doll of him in order to wreak my revenge. Unfortunately for me, it turned out that he was rather into acupuncture. And all I did was cure him of his bad back. There is a famous story called A Picture of Dorian Gray, in which a man has a magic picture. It's a portrait of himself, and he keeps it in his loft. In the picture, the man ages, getting older and older and older, whereas the real man himself remains forever young. I have a similar picture stored in my house, but my picture is of me, and in the picture I'm getting progressively more successful. For example, I checked it last month, and in the picture I was appearing in an episode of Mock the Week. I checked it last week, and in the picture I had my own sitcom. Look at it now. I'm winning an Oscar. Well, I wanted to finish this evening by reading to you this document. And this document is the first draft of my suicide note. Now, don't worry, there will be plenty of laughs, but not until the next act comes on. I have loved you since the first day I saw you, and I can no longer live without you in my life. Therefore, I've decided to kill myself. I have watched you every night through your window, while concealed in the bushes. Why you were concealed in the bushes, I will never know. And why you had so many bushes in your living room, I presume that you must be a botanist. This is not the first time that my unrequited love for you has driven me to contemplate suicide. The first time I tried to kill myself was a year ago. I went out and I bought 3 bottles of painkillers, a bottle of vodka. Unfortunately, I ended up too drunk to open the child-proof caps on the painkillers. I guess I should not have drunk the vodka first. On a positive note, I had an almighty headache the next morning, and those painkillers came in really handy. After that, I decided that I would shoot myself. And so I went out and bought a gun. But the problem was that replica guns these days are very realistic. And it's often impossible to tell them apart. Since then, I have been told that a telltale sign is that real guns are very rarely bright orange, and they often don't have Super Soaker 3000 written on the side. I then decided that I would become a martyr, dying for a political cause that I truly believed in, by becoming a suicide bomber. But my chess club's campaign to move our regular night from a Tuesday to a Thursday has yet to escalate to such levels. Besides, I heard that when suicide bombers get to heaven, they receive an array of virgins, and the last thing I want when I get to heaven is to see the other members of my chess club. My name's Lawrence Tuck. Good night.
That is just me. That was Mr. Lawrence Tuck. Mr. Lawrence Tuck, a poet and an actor and a man with dreams. La 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 la. I said to my mate, I said, are you still hearing voices? You said no. Even they're not fucking talking to me now. It's very odd, this lockdown thing, because a lot of people have been hearing voices. You've been hearing voices, haven't you?
Have I?
Yes, she's been hearing people. You've been hearing people talking to, haven't you?
Have I?
You have, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise.
Yeah. There we are. That's
Only
why
when
we
I've
don't
got-
do banter.
Only when I've got my headphones in.
Yeah. All right. La, 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 la.
Is that like people who ring you up? Friends want to ring you up and chat.
They do, yeah.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It's fucking annoying when people they ring you
Just
up.
because it's lockdown, they think they can
Yeah,
talk to you.
someone you haven't spoken to for about 5 years, they phone you up, say, I just want to ring you up for a chat.
Yeah.
God,
I've got to Zoom your family all
Yeah.
the bleeding time.
yeah. Yeah, it's no good, is it? I reckon let's get out and play something. He's been hanging around with folkies.
Yeah, we've got a special
Yeah.
tune this week. We've got a really old
Yeah.
tune. This is one for the copyright police for the YouTube copyright strike thing. This is these people. Look at them, eh? Wow. Dee 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 dee. This is a 900-year-old tune. And I'm going to do the 1857 tune. This is called the Abbott's.
In 900 years ago.
No, that was a 120-year-old photograph of the Abbott's Bromley horn dancers, and I'm going to do the 1857. It's all on YouTube. This, if you want to check it, it's all kosher.
Right.
And
Okay.
but yeah, this it's a pagan virility ritual from Abbott's
Nice.
Bromley.
Yeah.
How about that, eh? Wow, 900 years old. Yeah. Do you want to hear it again?
Hello, sausage. It's like when I got out the nick in 1994. I found out smoking was bad for you. But in the 1960s, smoking was good for you. The question we should all be asking ourselves is, why did they change the recipe? Smoking used to turn you into a man. You could take a 14-year-old with a squeaky voice, make him smoke 4,000 cigarettes, and only 10 days later, he's talking like a man.
All right.
Now, nobody smokes anymore. Everyone just vapes. And you're not even allowed to smoke in the car with your kids. They have to stand outside to smoke theirs.
That was Ron Spanners. Ron Spanners with his animation. Animation, yes, you can do a lot with animation. Good. So yes, this is going all right now. Isn't it? Sometimes we do this. This is a disaster. Some things are a disaster. You can't cover it up. For instance, the Titanic. That was a disaster. No one came away from it thinking of it as a success. They had a lot of social dilemmas there. Like you had the men had to decide to lay down their lives for the women, which created a dilemma for the women because then they had to decide what to wear, and they thought about war stuff, which doesn't sound like very much now, but it's one of the few recorded events in history where a large group of women were ready to go out, which is a little bit sexist, but Ava Alexis isn't here this week, so I thought I'd get away with it. Yes, it's been an interesting week, isn't it? Yeah. What shall we do? I'll tell you what we'll do. Yeah. there's no audience. That's what makes this so hard. When you normally blank and kind of pick something up off the audience, but mind you, I was never good at banter. It was like, hello, do you do? Hello, do you do? Hello, do you do? Hello, do you do? You see what happens? I turn into the Queen. The Queen's a rubbish compare. You never see the Queen go along somewhere and say, hello, what do you do? And someone says, well, I work at the Diamond Light Accelerator. And the Queen says, that's good because we've got a funny story about that. And it's odd, isn't it? I liked the fact, Meghan and Harry said, they said, oh, the Queen's nice, The Queen's nice because you can have a cup of tea and sit under her blanket, but she's a nice lady. It's everybody else who's the problem. It's all the courtiers and the machinery and the civil servants, all there. It's not the Queen. The Queen's lovely, but does it not occur to you? These people are like, it's like watching someone go, the Godfather. The Godfather's really avuncular. He's lovely, the Godfather, for avuncularness and avunculability. It's just everybody else in the mafia who's a problem. Anyway, what we were going to do is, at a change of pace, I have got back from YouTube after it was disappeared for a year for no apparent reason. All my videos of the Chilcot inquiry, which is the fascinating inquiry into how the Iraq War started, to which there was no real answer apart from Tony Blair. So after a year of complaining, they've decided to give it back to me. And we have these videos now. I'm not really sure what the point of them is. But they couldn't find a reason to bring them down because they were actually the real transcripts of the Iraq inquiry. These are the bits that you didn't see in the TV footage because they weren't allowed to film them because these people are so important that they can't be filmed, or they have jobs where they're not allowed to be seen. And they're all minor civil servants. So what I did was I just decided to animate them. So I got the text and stuck it in extra normal. And there's thousands and thousands of hours now of this footage, should you want to watch it, if you are mad enough. So this one that Brian is going to play now is Emma Skye, who used to work for the British Council, and just applied for an internal job in the civil service to go out to Iraq and help an American general basically run the whole of Kurdistan. With no apparent training or facilities at all. They just said, go to an airbase and figure it out. So I think you can run it now, Brian, if you can run it.
Can we start with some background information first? Can you describe how you were recruited to work for the CPA?
There was an email that was sent round the civil service asking for people to volunteer to go and work for the CPA. It was going to be Brits and Americans administering the country. I wasn't in the civil service. I was in the British Council. The email was forwarded to me. I expressed interest and became a secondee to the FCO and then on to the CPA.
And what briefing were you given before you went to Iraq?
I was not given a briefing. There was a phone call. It basically said, you've spent a lot of time in the Middle East. You will be fine. Turn up at RAF Bryce Norton. As soon as you get to Basra, there will be somebody who meets you. They will be standing there with a sign. There will be your name on it and they will take you to the nearest hotel.
Just as a matter of interest, what were you doing at the British Council? You do know a lot about the Middle East. What were you doing at the British Council? We are interested.
I had previously been working in West Bank, Gaza, Jerusalem and Israel and had just gone back to work at the British Council in Manchester as a governance advisor, managing projects globally on governments, justice, access to security.
I know in the introduction the chairman said what you were doing, but it would be helpful if you can just describe what your role and responsibilities were during your period at the CPA.
The CPA looked at the country as sort of 15 provinces plus Kurdistan. So in each of the 15 provinces they had a senior civilian, who was known as the governor coordinator, and in that role it was assuming the sort of role that a governor would play. So responsible for the administration of the province, relations, working with the military. I was in a province which had US military. But working with the Iraqis basically, finding local leaders, working out who could take what responsibilities, building up their capacity to govern the province themselves.
And what were your specific responsibilities? What were you tasked to do?
There was no job description. We weren't given outlines of what our jobs were. So I think anybody who turned up would do what they thought was the right thing to do. I don't recall receiving a job description, an outline of a job perhaps until maybe September. So up until then it was really how I interpreted what my role should be.
So that was Emma Sky, who couldn't interpret what her role was, didn't know what she was doing, and was just put in charge with no apparent responsibility or reason. Or anyway, so it's a bit like doing this, really, where you don't know why you're here or what you're doing. So anyway, I hope that was slightly entertaining, because it wasn't funny.
When I'm having a bath, I take a selfie. Oh, just for a laugh, I take a selfie. Off me dinner plate, I take a selfie. When I'm out with your mates, I tell you what happens when I'm in the street. See a celebrity I'd like to meet, I take a selfie. Then later in court, his honour is looking all vexed and full. I take a selfie. He says you're in contempt. I say a selfie's like showing respect. I take a selfie when I'm on the bus. I take a selfie. When I'm at the shop, take a selfie. Look, I got a new top. Every day I put my makeup on, do my hair all nice. You know it don't take long. I take a selfie so you all can see a beautiful pout makes it special for me. Selfie. Post on Facebook, live from my room. You gotta have a profile on Instagram too. I take a selfie of all that we do. You ain't alive without a selfie or two. I take a selfie when I'm having a drink. I take a selfie, don't need a thing. I take a selfie, don't you give me no star. Cause unlike you, I've got a life. Just gotta take a selfie. I take a selfie when I'm having a bath. I take a selfie, I'm just for a laugh. I take a selfie, off me dinner plate. I take a selfie when I'm out with my mates. I take a selfie when I'm having a drink. I take a selfie, don't need a thing. I take a selfie, don't you give me no strife. Cause unlike you, I've got a life.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Krysstal doing a bit there, showing off and going solo and leaving me behind, and because I was holding her back. Ladies and gentlemen, Cole Parker. Let's see what he's got to say.
All right, hang on a minute. Wait a minute, I wasn't quite ready for
Any
that.
minute now, he's going to come all the way from LA to tell us what's happening. Last week, he was telling us that they're getting something like $1,400 each for nothing. Everybody's going to get.
Hi, this is Cole Parker for Pear Shaped in Dystopia live in Los Angeles. Hi everyone. Hope you're having a good week out there. I don't know if I can do my report this week because I'm struggling. I'm having a bad week. I'm really struggling. It's the Harry and Meghan thing. It's too much. It's too much. I had no idea that the royal family were racist. I didn't know. It's just a shock. That's all. It's fine. I'll be fine. It's just a shock. I always thought that a British royal family, you know, we all know who they are. Obviously, you know, this entirely Caucasian nest of Nazi sympathising, paedophile shielding financial parasites who routinely hide their own disabled family members in secure units, murder troublesome ex-wives, and who said literally nothing all throughout Brexit. I always thought that they were beacons of moral fortitude, but no, turns out they're racist. Who fucking knew, eh? What a shock. So yeah, so it's just got me down, the whole thing, you know. I've even turned to drugs. I'm taking drugs for the first time in my life. I am. Oh, what did you say this is called? Marrow what? Tasty. So yeah, I'm too depressed to give a proper report this week. I can't do it. Sorry about that. I had to just pull myself together. Okay, that's what it was. I honestly didn't fuck up a bit of material. I need to like cut it and keep the first bit and do a different take and sew them together. That definitely did not happen just then. Good. So I live in a part of LA called Silver Lake, famous for hipsters. They're from here. That's where they originated from Silver Lake, this tiny little spit of land on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. Hipsters are from here, and I love hipsters. A lot of people don't like hipsters. They find them, I don't know, like a soft target, like students were back in the 80s. Let's have a go at students. Look at them trying to educate themselves, they're pricks. You know, so I don't understand what people have a go at hipsters. I love hipsters. I love the effort they make. Without hipsters, where else in 2021 would I be able to see a classic Victorian strongman moustache? Which for me is always so much more entertaining on a skinny vegan with a cough. Oh, you know what? That's cheered me up actually. I feel, yeah, maybe I can do my report after all. Maybe I have got it in me. Maybe I can get past the royal family shock and I can actually deliver. I get 2 minutes. Oh fuck, I've already gone over. Alright, well until next week, this is Cole Parker, live in LA for Pear Shaped in Dystopia.
Yes, people are mad about the Harry and Meghan thing. I even saw an argument on Facebook today where someone was saying, well, you know, they talk about overpopulation and they've got 2 children. Well, that's a zero-sum game, isn't it? You know, I mean, if you've got 2 people creating 2 more people, that should end up with an equal and constant population that never grows. So if they had 3, then obviously that'd be going over the edge. But then I thought, well, you know, what is she supposed to do? You know, I mean, because she was an actress, but she would now be the woman who used to be a princess, so you can't cast her in anything. So I suppose the options for Meghan now are like presenting, working behind the camera, or that stalwart of people who cannot, the perennial stalwart of people who cannot get a proper job anywhere, stand-up comedy. I think that's where she's going. I think you could see her on Pear Shaped very soon. I think, yeah, so I'm a bit rusty. I've been on tour. When I went to the other room, I decided that's a tour, isn't it, these days? I went down to the car park. I had a bit of a shock this week because I told my neighbour to be quiet, and they were.
It's not on yet.
Usually it takes about 3 months and lots of threats from the council, but actually no, they were nice. Underneath everyone's nice. Anyway, I think we should move on now, because we're moving rapidly towards the end, and have 2 minutes of pattern math.
Hi, Sean.
Catherine, hello. And welcome to all, but especially to our main fan, Maurice Skettle.
Hi, Maurice.
Lincoln. And welcome to 2 Mins with Pat and Math.
Now, I'd just like to reiterate that we are recording this remotely. Nothing to do with coronavirus, nothing to do with lockdown. We just really, really don't like each other.
No. It's the odours as much as anything, Catherine.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, if you address that,
I still wouldn't come near you. What's the question, Sean?
maybe have a rinse.
Sean, dog?
Should handstands be an Olympic event?
I'm going to say yes, because as a girl, I had to learn to handstand, along with cooking and sewing.
Yes.
But also, I think that we could just put anything into the Olympics now, couldn't we? Because, I mean, it's not happening, is it? And in fairness, like, Japan's really far away, and I'm not even sure it exists. So,
I mean, it does. That's a given.
Does it though?
Yes. Yes. Funny you should say that. As a boy, I had really good at fighting and woodwork and cricket, and I wasn't.
I'm not surprised.
Thank you. I was more the intellectual type.
Really?
Yes.
Right.
Once represented my school at chess.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. Which used to make things easier with the ladies, as you can imagine.
Yeah, because they just don't come near you.
No. No.
And now the penultimate act of the evening is Stephanie Lang, who has been to Pear Shaped many, 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 many times.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I hope you're all all right. I shaved my head in lockdown, and now I look like a very sick little boy. But I think I'm still all right looking. Right? I'm okay. I think I'm a bit weird looking. I've got a big forehead. I'm a bit pointy. I think I'm the sort of person where you might look at me and think, yeah, she's kind of sexy, but maybe her parents were first cousins. I think I've got that kind of a vibe going on. Also, because we've been in lockdown for so long, I've been super, super horny. And I was looking back to the last time I got any kind of action, which was pre-lockdown. And it was when I was on the bus and somebody poked me in the vagina with his umbrella. Hey! So it's not all bad, I suppose. It was an accident. He didn't hold it out so I could back into it. So I've been thinking about, I've got notes. That's fine when you're on the internet, isn't it? I've been thinking about fear a lot recently and trying to write a show about fear. I've been thinking about times when I was very, very scared. And one time I was on holiday. I was in Australia and my friend went scuba diving, and I didn't have a license for that, so I stayed snorkeling right close to the shore. And I thought, right, I'm just going to snorkel by myself, and it'll be this beautiful, amazing moment. And then I went out into the sea, and I got about 2 meters away from the jetty thing that I was on, and I remembered, I have an enormous fear of deep water. Really unmanageable fear of deep water. So I swam back to the shore and I was like, right, I just won't go out there again. And I thought, no, you live your life, Stephanie, go out. So I went out to about 3 meters away from the jetty and I was like, no, sharks will eat me. They'll probably eat me immediately. So I went back to the shore and I was like, no, just stay there. And then I thought, no, fucking live your life. So I went out to 4 meters away. Still shitting myself. And also I had my period and I was thinking, I am a beacon to sharks right now. I'm sending out mega food signals to all the sharks in the area. But eventually I managed to swim about, and then I saw some fish that were so pretty that I snort laughed into my snorkel mask and nearly drowned from my own snot. So that was good. But as I've got older, I've started to, I was a proper little briefcase child. I was very scared of everything when I was a child. I never used to do anything. But when I got older, I started trying to be really brave. But I think I've fucked it up quite a lot, because what I do is I get into relationships with dickheads. Don't know if you've heard of that brand of human, but they seem to often be, and I think, I'm being so brave and reckless and this is great, but they're quite often drug dealers and married men and people who just never got into using condoms. And I think that that's a brave decision, but in reality, it's just that I already know what's going to go wrong. Could you tell the story behind your parachute tattoo? I sure will, Mark. I'll finish with that if you want. Requests, nice. So I, because you know how those relationships are going to end, don't you? You know it's going to go wrong because he's spending all of his time taking drugs, or he won't hang out with you because his wife's in town, or, you had to keep getting swabbed. So also, the story behind my tattoo. So I was on a beach in Aberdeen, and I've been swimming in the sea, and I was hiding behind some bushes to change. And I thought, this is a great place to hide. No one's going to see me changing. This is brilliant. I'd look left, I'd look right, I'd look behind me. I was like, there's nobody around. I was fully naked. I thought, no one's going to see me. There's nobody on this beach. And then, this is genuinely true, a parachutist landed right next to me, right? Like, how could I possibly have prepared myself for that? So that's why I got that tattoo of the parachute. I'm going to show it off. There you are. Just to remind me that it's never the stuff you are preparing for that goes wrong, is it? It's always the stuff where you're like, what the fuck? Are there more? What do I do? I do worry a little bit about what tattoo he might have got based on what he saw that day, though. So if you ever see a man with my vagina tattooed on his face, that's the guy. So that's it. That's me done. Thank you so much for having me. I love you. I've been Stephanie Lang.
That was Stephanie Lang. I like acts who tell us their names at the end.
Yeah.
Someone used to complain, but we know who you are because we introduce you. But I've always forgotten by the time people have finished. So it's very good if people remind us at the end who they were, so that I don't have to get my bits of paper out. But that was Stephanie Lang. Excellent. Yes, it's something occurred to me the other day, and I was thinking about, remember Inspector Morse, and everybody loved Inspector Morse, and then there was Inspector Morse and Lewis, and everybody loved Lewis. So when John Thor said, well, I'm going to die soon, so I'm going to give up, it's not plausible that I would still be an inspector. So then the show became Lewis, and then there was Lewis, and everybody loved Lewis, and Lewis had a sidekick who was Lawrence Fox, and everybody loved Lewis, and there was Lawrence Fox, and then it got to a point where Lewis was getting to the age where he was implausibly old to play a policeman, and he said, well, I've got to give up now, and Lawrence Fox said, well, it's all right, I can take over the gig, and everybody said, no, you can't, and he said, well, I'm going to go on the internet, and you see how popular I am. Now, moving on, there's things like you don't understand when you're young, aren't they? The great thing about getting older is there's things you don't understand when you're young, and you think that there's an answer. Like, there used to be a program, and it's on Forces TV now, called The Equalizer, and it used to be on ITV, like, really late. And sometimes I would watch it, and I think, I don't actually understand what's going on here, but when I grow up, it'll make more sense. And now I'm grown up, and it makes even less sense than when I was a child. But I spent all these years thinking I wasn't intelligent enough to understand it, and now I realise it's rubbish. Good. So let's move on. There's not many acts to go, is there? There's the headliner. Yes, Mad Ron.
Mr. Mad Ron.
So, I'm not a fan of modern technology. They reckon there's as much computer power in a mobile phone as it took to get a man to the moon. And what do you lot do with it? Rearrange strawberries. Things like soap used to be a solid with the word soap written on the bar. And the main ingredient of soap was soap. Now it's a liquid in a jar with a vegetarian shopping list stuck to the side. And if you fast forward 10 years, it's probably going to be a gas with a poem on it. The brakes on modern cars are now so good, it's taken the skill out of crossing the road. And in the 1960s, makeup was safe because it had been tested on animals. Now you can't even put lipstick on a horse without being arrested. And I'm not a fan of that email either. Back in the day when I was a kid, if we wanted to send each other a message, we'd just chuck a brick through the window. I remember an argument with Barry went on for 4 months, and by only replying to every other message, I managed to get enough bricks to build my mum a bungalow. Abandoned the dating service, Barry's mum got hit by a breeze block with a dick pic on it. But you lot, you can't meet anyone without a computer these days, can you? I remember the day I met Angela, saw her across a crowded bar, couldn't take my eyes off her jewellery. Wandered over and got talking. After a bit of cajoling, she convinced me to go back to her place for a bit of VHS and DOS, where I made love to her like a man should, robustly, and before the kettle had boiled. 3 weeks later, she announced she was pregnant, And 4 years after that, she gave birth to our son. Now, not everyone takes the crime straight away. For me, wasn't a problem. My mum tells me that when I was born, she had a couple of contractions. The next thing she knew, I was rifling through the midwife's handbag. But Ron Jr., he's not like us. Ever since we took him on that first robbery aged 8, he's never really been into the life of crime. Tried him with everything. Burglary, shoplifting, carjacking. But he ain't taken to anything. And we're worried he won't follow in his father's footsteps. But last week, Andrew and I spoke long into the night about this, and she turned to me and she said, Ron, she said, because she's on 80 fags a day, she said, Ron, not everyone's built the same. Not everyone has the same emotions, feelings, or outlook on life, and we may have to face up to the fact that Ron Jr. might be straight. Well, I lost my temper, didn't I? Went round the house where he lives, burst through the door, and as he sat there on his sofa, his little chihuahua yapping at me, Gone with the Wind on the television, his flatmate Tristan cooking dinner in the kitchen, I turned to him and I said, you better not be straight. You tell me now, are you straight? And he turned to me and he looked me in the eye and he said, Dad, you don't have to worry about me. I'm as far from being straight as any man could possibly be. Well, I was absolutely delighted and my face lit up. Looked a bit like this. And I ran the 4 miles home with a spring in my step. But when I got there, found out something was wrong. Felt like something was niggling away at me. Something niggled in the back of my mind. So I went the 4 miles back round to Ron Jr.'s house. And when I got there, I found out I was right. I had left my car there. So locked up again. This time 4 months. Get out in a few weeks. Shouldn't be a problem. Sharing a cell with some nice guys. Really good guys. We've got John Claude on the bunk over there. He's not French. He got attacked by a cat. We got Test Match Tony. Send him out to do a job. And 5 days later, there's still no result. And then there's Lights Out Larry. He sleeps closest to the door. But a few things about me. What can I tell you? The best thing for disguising my features is a tan-coloured 35 denier, pretty polystocking. Or if we're on a budget, we could do what my granddad did during the war. In 1942, stockings were in short supply, so when he went out to do a bank raid, he'd have to dye his face with gravy browning and use an eyeliner pencil to draw a seam down the back. Since I've been in here, I have to say Angela hasn't been to see me. Not her fault, unfortunately. She's been banned from public transport. Turns out topless buses aren't the same as topless beaches, but she wasn't to know that, was she? But I've been trying to get my message through to the young, and I can't get it across. I've tried everything. I've tried shouting at them. I've tried threatening them. And nothing seems to work. And Angela's turned to me and she said, well, have you tried talking to them? Well, I'm not going to do that, am I? If I could talk to millennials, just imagine it. Chatting with a hipster, him and me. Imagine a vape wheezer chatting to this geezer. What a neat achievement that would be. If I could talk to millennials, learn their languages, maybe take a meaningless degree, I'd study first world problems, how to offset carbon, work in a microbrewery. I'd converse in Messenger and Facebook, and I would text with emojis too. And if people ask me, can you send a tweet of us? I'd say, of course, Russ. Can't you? They made me do poetry in Pentonville. Now, the one thing that I think is a bit strange is the number of vegetarians who own cats. In the 60s, you never saw a vegan, did you, except on science fiction films, and now they're all over the place, preaching to us. They're like vicars, but weaker. Personally, I never eat a vegetable unless it's evidence. But what does surprise me is those vegetarians who own cats. All they've done there is they've outsourced their meat eating. The thing about having a cat is when you come downstairs in the morning, the lounge is littered with bodies, baby mice, sparrows, blood seeping into the carpet and settees. Takes me ages to clean up. And if the cat does stop licking its arse for 2 minutes, he'll look up and shrug as if to say, just got a bit out of hand. We've got 2 cats. The local kids absolutely adore them. They rub up against your leg when they need food and they shit in the flower pots. But that's the kids round our way. So I'm not a big fan of sport. Things like snooker. I used to love snooker, but I found there's too much maths involved for my liking. And boxing, I don't see why you have to get undressed to fight. But I do like cricket. Cricket is where you round up the country's most ginger people, send them off to the world's hottest countries and watch them suffer. Fantastic sport. Now, Andrew and me, we get on all right. But a few weeks ago, we had a bit of a row and she started it. She turned to me and she said, Ron, she said, if a second-hand car salesman was to describe you, he'd say something like, you're a clapped-out old banger with too many miles on the clock. Damaged bodywork, needs a lot of choke to get started, but still constantly stalls. Got leaky underneath, makes strange noises and produces toxic emissions. Well, I wasn't happy, was I? I said, Angela, if an estate agent was to describe you, you'd say something like compact, quirky, full of history, light and airy, with unique features in need of some cosmetic improvement. I know. Boasting exposed beams, having recently been extended by the current owner to give a wonderfully flowing entertainment space. Mature gardens front and rear. Well, she thought I was in the wrong. I thought she was in the wrong. And as a compromise, we both slept in the spare room. So from time to time, people ask me for a bit of advice, and I got a letter this morning I'd like to share with you. So that's a good job that was empty. Dear Mad Ron, I'm going on holiday to New York later this year. I'm a bit worried. I've heard those Americans use strange words for things, and those lazy sods get up 5 hours later than we do. If that's true, I'm looking forward to a lie-in, but I'm a bit confused. We're flying out on the 2nd of November, but we don't get there till the 11th of February. What's going on? So I've prepared a reply. He's got double glazing. You're right. Americans use old-fashioned words that are difficult to understand. For example, when the Americans put fuel in the car, they call it gas. We use a liquid. But there's a reason for these old-fashioned words. What you're missing is the American date system has the days and the months the wrong way round. They have 12 days per month and 31 months in the year. And if you multiply that out, that's 372 days. We only have 365 days in our years. If you count up the difference between now and when Jesus was born, that's 41 years and 2 months. So although the Americans think it's 2021, over there, it's still 1979. In 1979, I didn't get up till lunchtime either. I've used all my words up now. Goodbye.
Well, I could do the roll call without Brian.
Yeah,
let's do it. So tonight you saw Robert White.
Yeah, God. He's very consistent as well. He's good.
Yeah. Then we had me, and then we had Lawrence Tuck.
Lawrence Tuck, yeah, it's good to see him again, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's really here, but he was here in spirit and digitally. And then you played a tune.
Yeah, the Abbots Bromley Horn Dance.
And then we had a video of Ron Spanners. And then I bored us with a section of the Chilcot Inquiry.
Yeah, that was
and,
good.
Then we had Yuriko Katani, who might be around somewhere, but probably can't get back in.
With the soothing.
This is up there with the week where Brian managed to get the audience in the gig, and all the performers locked outside. And then we had Cole Parker from Los Angeles showing us that cannabis is legal there. I think it was quite good this week.
He was good. Yeah.
Nice to see him do some acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he does now.
Many talents. Yes.
And then we had me again and Brian at some point. Then we had 2 minutes of Pat and Matt. Regularly. And then Brian did one of his songs, I think. And then we had Stephanie Lang. Who talked about the sort of things that women talk about. And swimming and going underwater. Then we had me again, I think. And Mad Ron.
And then Mad Ron,
Yes, Mad Ron.
Did you say it's in Dystopia?
Yeah, that's right.
Where the hell is Dystopia?
Well,
I know where Fitzrovia is.
Yes, we all know that.
There used to be a comedy club there called Pear Shaped in Fitzrovia.
Yes. Well, if you'd let me get a word in edgewise.
Pear Shaped. It's just a favour to come in, and we hope that you'll be coming back again to Pear Shaped in Dystopia every Wednesday night at 8:30. Every Wednesday night at 8:30.
So.
Yeah. Just like the old days, really. Isn't it? Just you and me at the end of the night.
Yeah, we'll just disappear. Like the old days. Let's go down the Spanish bar. I remember, Alan used to go down the Spanish bar for weeks and weeks and years, and then eventually we grew up. But we had this, because there was only the Spanish bar and the Phoenix was full of people who were on terribly good drugs, and it was really annoying because they were all coked up. So what we do is go down the Spanish bar. And then we got fed up with that, so we decided to go to the casino. And the problem is, of course, that the cheap booze and everything, but everyone looks so depressed. It's so unlike a James Bond film. Everyone's just like, and they're staring at these one-armed bandits all night, and it's like watching people frozen in time.
Well,
anyway, so that's what you could be doing rather than being here.
You would be depressed if you just lost all your money, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but even people at the tables are depressed. You'd think they would be like, that would be a bit more cheery, but it isn't. It's a scary world. I think Cole Parker used to work in a casino at one point. Yeah, as I remember. Mind you, I remember things that aren't real. You start making things up, and yeah. The past is another country. Yes, well, that's philosophy for me. Do you think you will ever get back? We could be stuck here forever.
We could be stuck.
Could be like waiting for Godot.
Have
you painted any good houses recently?
I've been building shelves and units. I'm full on. My customer is coming back from Ghana at the weekend, and she has to isolate for 10 days. So I won't be calling in for 10 days, will I? No, heaven knows what she's going to bring back from Ghana. Which variant?
Yeah.
And I'm getting jabbed on Saturday.
Oh, right.
So
my brother's had his email, and he's only 50 something, early 50s.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what we've all got to look forward to, being jabbed.
Jabbed, yes. So
Yeah.
looking forward to whatever reaction there is to that during the week and next week. Yeah.
There'll be more reaction on this, isn't it? Anyway, yeah. So, Brian's attempting to get back in. The boss is coming. This is like when the system goes down at work. You know.
Is it now?
When I was at like, I don't have to do any work. The system's gone down.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're still a bit frozen.
Yeah.
You're a bit jerky.
Maybe you turn the screen off. We can just hear you, and then we'll be able to try saving information. You see, MPEG is, I think, a derivative of JPEG. It's a lossy format, so when it doesn't work, you see bits and pieces. And the thing about lossy formats is that actually when they're reconstructed, you see a slightly different version every time. Because they're held together by fuzzy logic.
There's Stephanie, right.
And that's a bit of bounty here every week. Oh, Mad Ron is there. I thought you were projection.
Over here.
Right.
I thought you were not real. Mad Ron and Stephanie.
Eureka.
And Eureka is here.
Eureka,
invisibly. So Brian's obviously able to press buttons now, but he can't. So Eureka is here but can't speak. Stephanie's here. Hello. That's my banter. I just talking nonsense really. Normally at this point we have a sort of analysis of what went wrong in the evening, or what didn't work, or whether anyone was alive at the end of it. But
Do you ever sleep then after this gig?
yeah, usually I'm the one that says, right, I've had enough. I mean, everyone's too polite to say, well, I've had enough of the green room now, we want to go out. I'm like, no, fuck it, off in the other room to get drunk.
My favourite bit of the crazy high octane banter was you saying, the past is another country. Well, that's philosophy for you. pretty strong stuff. Oh, they've gone again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've moved us around. It's like,
how many people generally watch this then?
It depends. Sometimes as many as 7.
Yeah.
I think we've been up to about 20 something or 30.
Right. Okay.
As it goes out on Facebook, and I think it goes out on Twitch, and then Brian makes an edited version that goes out on YouTube. So between the 3 platforms, it does reach some people.
There's a lot of people. The edited versions get a lot of views, like 100 or 200 views.
Yeah, that's.
So it is a bit scary when you think about the big picture.
Well, that Iraq video I put up, it actually has 800 people who watch that.
Right.
I don't know why. That's boring. But anyway, we will be stuck in the great thing about YouTube is you think it'll last forever, but eventually you just get struck down. I think there's an algorithm that takes out all the channels no one watches or no one updates. That's how we should do this. We should have an algorithm that works on fuzzy logic, and it could just pick out people who are slightly mad enough to do it for virtually no money, and entertaining enough, and it could work out how funny people were through some kind of voice analysis. I'm sure it's coming. Someone will do that. A virtual comedy club where it's just analysed on feedback. Good. I'm gonna sell that one to Silicon Valley.
Yeah, nice to finally see you perform, Steph. I haven't seen you before.
No, I haven't seen you either. I really enjoyed it. Well done.
Thanks.
It was funny. Liked it.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mission accomplished.
I think Eureka is stuck on mute forever.
It was all quite slick this week until we got to the end bit here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, if you remember, I did the first one.
Yeah.
Which
That was an experience.
That was unbelievable, wasn't it? When all the audience got invited into the performers area. None of the performers could get in, and then they had to kick all the audience out of the performers area and hope the performers got in.
And I played the mandolin for about half an hour.
You did?
I just had to fill all the dead time, like now. It's just endless.
It's amazing how much you can stretch out 2 tunes when you're pushed, you know?
So, in StreamYard, can you not have a co-host then? So, could they not make one of you?
But we haven't looked into it. Probably
I think this is like the reserve parachute mode we're in now, you know.
Yeah, but probably someone can share control. But you know, that'll probably cost money. There's different levels of license you can get. So you might not have got this in audience reaction, but you're getting it in technical information.
So are there still audience watching right now?
That's in Brian and Vicky's hands. I don't know. I would assume so.
Because I have the this, so I'm watching it as it goes out and when it's coming in. So.
Okay.
So I can see what people say if anyone says something. No one said anything much this week.
But to put it in perspective, that means there could be 7 people watching. Like, it's not like there's 200 people watching now. Well, this has never happened before, has it? This one, this particular glitch.
But, the thing is that what happens is if Brian's computer fails, the stream just carries on going. So it will carry on going forever, indefinitely,
Right.
until you can get in to switch it off.
Who can we get in?
We could all go, and this will be like 2 days of stuff. I'll have to edit it down for whatever, an hour.
Who could we get in just to be on the screen when they dial back in?
We can't get anyone in, so we can't get Eureka back. She's stuck on silent forever because she doesn't have the power.
Let's do something strange, couldn't we? We'll find a picture or something. Page 84. What was the one? We got 84, 82. Put the
right, well,
horn dancers back on. There we go.
You can go. You don't have to stick around.
Yeah, I am going to go.
I think I should go too.
All right, then.
Give me regards to Brian and Chris.
I'll tell Brian when he's unlocked from the Matrix that you
from StreamYard prison. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Nice.
Cheers, Ron. Yeah.
Bye.
I think I'm going to go too. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, that's okay.
Really nice to see you, though. I haven't seen you for ages. And I really enjoyed both of your things. I thought they were very, very good. I laughed. I was on mute and I was laughing a lot. And I was like, should I unmute myself so they can hear me cackling? But then I thought that might disrupt the show. So I stayed on mute. But it was very good.
You can't because
it's not allowed.
Crystal has control.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for coming.
Lovely to see you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh.
Right.
Eureka's still sticking it out, but maybe she can't leave either.
We haven't got any visuals, have we? I could blast a tune through. That could be precedent.
Maybe we should just give up, Al. I think we should.
There you go.
You're back.
You're back. Hey.
We were just going to give up.
Are we back or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
back.
see you
Yes,
moving and everything.
Yes.
See you and hear you, and yeah.
Seems not.
Hello.
Hello.
No, Anthony's just
Oh,
disappeared.
we've all slowed down a bit now. Oh, there's Vicky over there now. No, over there.
He's back. Oh.
Vicky has the power of bilocation.
I got yes. I thought I'd try on my phone. See if that worked any better. So is everybody gone now?